coming for this interview. So,
Thank you for calling me back.
just to start, can you tell me something about yourself?
I'm from Jamaica originally, but I've been living in New York for the past 5 years, or 5.5 years. I left home after my first degree just to get some time off, but the plan didn't go as original, and now I'm staying here and I decided to start over, and I then went into a career of events, and that trip has taken me, or that journey has taken me quite across Europe with different countries. So I've been living in different environments also, which was also really nice. I do enjoy traveling, so that was also a benefit. Personally, I enjoy reading and writing, so anything to do with this is a great passion of mine, which is probably why I like to do a lot of research. Otherwise from that, I also like to socialize with friends, so I'm a very sociable person. Everything I do, whether it's work or my personal life, it's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Okay. So, as I saw in your CV, you're studying event management. Could you tell me why you chose to study?
Well, the story behind that is actually more like fate. I did not know what I wanted to do. As I said earlier, that it was not the original plan. I went to an open day for a university when I made the choice to start over my degree, and I saw the advertisement for event management, and everything just fell into place. Back in Jamaica, I had a company also with my mother. My mother still works in the event industry, but for me this was always something as helping with her, the organizing part, more a hobby than I ever thought of it as a career. So it all really fell into place when I realized I've been doing this already my entire life, so why not make a proper career out of it? So that was motivation.
As you know, we're looking for more entrepreneurial candidates. So it's very interesting for me that you were driving your own brand and your own company. Could you tell me more about it?
Okay, well, as I said, my mother still works in this industry, and she was doing it beforehand. And then I approached her with the idea of taking it more public than just doing private events, because she had a more select clientele. And we all have a third partner in this business, and they were more invested in the public events. So we decided, okay, let's join forces. And it was just a venture. As I said, it was a hobby. It wasn't something I was really thinking as a career, but something I thought that could develop my mother's business a little bit more, as well as the other partner's business. And I was just bringing two sides of the coins together in a sense. And this was just public events, but more public party events, not so much conferences or meetings. So just had to do with finding sponsors, finding locations, and anything you can do with planning a party, so to speak. But it was a public party, so of course there were things to do with the city, getting certain permissions and permits to do certain things. As I said, I never thought of it as a career. It was really just something to do for fun. A lot of hard work, but also something for fun. And in the end, the business still does exist legally. But it's as I'm no longer living in Jamaica, it's no longer so much the public, but it's more to the private events. But it does still exist.
Okay. Why you want to work with us?
Well, reading how the advert was structured, I get the impression that they like candidates who are able to work a lot on their own, or think on their feet. There are set challenges and accomplish them, and this is the kind of personality I am. I like to have the freedom, so to speak, to develop on my own, or not really on my own, but I like to be given a task and have the opportunity to take that task and kind of make it my own. And this is how I mean it. And also working with a lot of these larger companies, I think it's also very, very nice. And knowing what these companies normally do, like for example Red Bull, it's all about kind of being out of the box and doing things as crazy as you can think or as you feel. And this also I feel really in touch with my own personality. and I think I can bring a lot to the table. Set challenges. I like to be challenged. The higher the challenge, the better I perform.
As you know, we're mostly working in a sport field and mostly organizing sport events, preferably like very much like we are working with Red Bull. So we organize extreme sports events. So would you find yourself in our company? Are you interested in sports?
Well, I'll be frank. I would not say I'm a very sporty person, but my whole, let's say, from studying and to working, I've always been in being very versatile and doing as much as I can. So I don't believe in just sticking to one thing. So maybe sticking to just corporate events or sticking to just wedding and private events. The more the merrier, I think. And sports is something that I think is quite challenging because it's not something that I do normally. So I'm picking myself in a situation where I have to really learn and develop as a, let's say, a sports enthusiast, you know, and I think if I can, I think this might give a different kind of perspective to say, okay, how is it, would you reach someone who's not into sports? How can you still manage to get them involved into something like this? And rather than, because it's easy to reach anybody who's already interested in BMX or motocross or something like this, but how can you get somebody who's not interested in that, you know, to be interested? So I think this is the, I'm not interested in sports, but I think I can offer that little extra oomph.
Okay, different perspective. And I would like to ask you what you think is your greatest strengths.
Whew, okay. This is actually a bit of a tricky one. I think my greatest strength also plays on my greatest weakness. I am a very strong worker by myself, alone. And I'm also very dedicated, and I really put myself into something. And when I'm alone, I do it even more, but then it plays onto a weakness because it gets a bit difficult because I never know when to really ask for help. And I think it's important sometimes if you need help that you do ask for it. This is something I've been working on, and I must say it has improved over the years. But I do produce very good results when I work alone. I must say that I do feel like I'm more confident in my work when I tend to plan just on myself. Just to say that I can't work in a team, it's just I think that's my greatest strength, having the ability to work alone. Might sound a bit mean, but yes, it is.
Could you give me an example of one of your strengths which coming from your weaknesses? But so I would be also interested if you have any other weaknesses.
Any other weaknesses? Well, I think it's only human to have weaknesses, of course. A weakness regarding to my, I can be at times a procrastinator because I need sometimes that extra pressure to work. So that's kind of also a bit of a strength. You could say that I can work well under pressure, but sometimes I give myself that extra pressure when it's not needed. And because I feel like maybe I will perform better that way. But truth is sometimes it's not, and then if the other person's depending on me, then it can become a bit of a conflict, and I think that's probably another one of my weaknesses.
Okay, thank you for being so honest with me. And you mentioned in your cover letter that you have problem-solving skills. Could you give me an example when you were using this kind of set of skills?
Well, I think my problem-solving skills mainly come out when it's finding compromises with other individuals. Specific examples. Well, I was recently, my last employer was with the Marriott International, and we had a customer appreciation week approaching, and this had included a gala sort of event. And during this event, not the problem, but it wasn't just a Marriott hotel that was organizing this event. It was 3 other hotels within the Marriott International brand, And so it was 3 different teams coming together, and often it was just people have different ideas, different perspectives, and so there could be a bit of conflict on how to get things done. And there was one situation, because as an intern, sometimes it's people get a bit misguided of how interns should be used. They might think more of the term is a bit crude, workhorse, that they just do all the very little hard work things that they don't want to get done because they're the managers. And then there's some persons feel like, okay, no, this is not their role. And so there was a bit of conflict, in a sense, a fight over me of where I should be and how to get things done. And I pretty much stepped in between the 2 managers and kind of offered my services the best way I could to both were a bit satisfied during this event, because I was a part of this organizing body, and I wanted it to come up to the best. And in the end, I managed to work it out that I split the time evenly between them, that I could do this, and then in the end I can finish up with this. It took some time out of my own personal time, but in the end both managers were happy and I kept the peace. So I think that's probably the most recent, and I think very best, without going into too much details about it, example.
So you mentioned the situation when you were intern into Marriott Hotel. Could I ask you what was your what you were doing there, like most of the time? What was your responsibilities?
Wow. Okay. On paper, my responsibilities were to look after clients after they've been approved by our sales department. They come in. We have to look after what they require for their conference or for their meeting, and ensuring that everything was in place. So it was creating detailed sheets. It went, okay, if I can describe the flow, the sales and marketing did the contracts. When the contracts were signed, they came to us. We organized the actual event, and then we kind of inform our banqueting department. So we had to make sure that banqueting was aware of everything they needed, to tables, to chairs, to the equipment, when they needed, the times, the rooms. So a lot of that kind of organization. That was the very basic on paper. In the end, I had a bit more responsibility. It was unexpected, but also very, very welcoming. On some occasions, my manager was away out of office, and then I had to assume the role of event manager for the department, and it was just a department of 2 or 3, so it was either myself or just one other intern. And so those responsibilities really took on fully the role of what the event manager was. So if there was anything to do with events, I was getting the calls and handling it. I was a liaison between sales and marketing and banqueting. Of course, direct contact with clients, and these were very, very big clients for companies like KPMG and Pricewaterhouse, and it was a bit daunting also, a little bit, the experience, because these are persons who are paying tens of thousands of euros for an event, and they expect the best because it's Marriott. And I was just an intern of a few weeks, and it was a lot of responsibility. I will admit this. It was a lot of responsibilities, and the first time I was left alone with this position, or with having to fill this position, it was very hard. I really felt like I was going to break down because I did not know what to do, or I wasn't prepared for this type of role only a month and a half into my internship. And but by the end of the week, I was a lot better, a lot more confident, a lot of long hours. So then the second time it happened again, I knew what to do. It happened 3 times in total, and by the 3rd time I was professional.
That is a tricky one. What did you didn't like? What did you like the least about this job?
This job. Okay, well, it's a hotel. A lot of departments within a hotel, and a lot of miscommunication can happen, or a lot of expectations, or unknowing expectations that you need to do something, but there's no direct form of communication to say, okay, well, this has to get done, and a lot of things get lost in translation. And at the end of the day, there has to be like a face. It's a hotel and the Marriott has a name and a standard. So at the end of the day, we always have to put on a very good face, even though there's complete chaos in the background. And sometimes trying to find, where the chaos started at or how to even resolve it, it's there's no clear structure on it. So often you have to. You really forced to think on your feet, and it's as an intern it was a bit hard because you didn't know, you're just in your one department, and when I tried to get information from other departments I was always pushed around a lot and not really getting clear answers, and that was a bit of a challenge, and I didn't like that. I wish there was a bit more guidance, not just because I'm in the events department doesn't mean I can't get a little bit more guidance from other departments too. So I think that was the thing I did not like the most.
Okay. Just to sum up, what can you do for us that other candidates cannot?
Okay, what I can do is I'm always willing to challenge the status quo, and I really stay strong when I'm dedicated to something like this. It's not, if I say I will do something, I won't go halfway in. I go full way or even higher. I really push the barriers, and I like the feeling of when I'm under pressure or under stress. I think that only motivates me more to get things done. So I think my dedication, I think, is the best thing I think I have to offer. No matter where I put.
Okay. And do you have any questions for me?
I do have a question regarding maybe the travel. Would the job require any additional travel?
The job can require this, but all travel costs will be covered. So.
Okay, that was my main. I see that it's a paid internship also, so I didn't have any questions about that. But I wanted to know what expectations for traveling.
Are you available for traveling?
Oh yes, this will be fine. It's just to know beforehand.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me here.